Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, here with my co-host Tate Matthews. And Tate, this is a very special show today. Show number
500.
500. Can you believe it?
Well,
and
no.
You showed up, by the way, show 219.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
The Harrier version of Mr. Tate Matthews.
Oh my goodness, that's at least on the front. You know, part of it is because of this show why I started shaving it, because the camera angle would always be here, and I'd be talking to Qualls, and I'd see that dinner plate on the back of my head. I got to do something about this.
So we've got something very special today at the end of the show, but I do want to mention at least part of this in the beginning. This was all started by Ralph Ringstaff, right? The original WCS athletic director, followed up by Jack Daniels, and then, of course, Jeremy Qualls. And it's pretty interesting. I want you to tell the audience, because I do think this is important because it's a big part of the show now. How did it start where you became the guest host every week?
Typical Dr. Qualls, right? Brilliance, but on his time schedule, right? So I didn't know him. He wasn't Dr. Qualls either. He was Coach Qualls then.
In the bus garage?
In the bus? No, we met over here. He used to have two offices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, two?
Yeah, oh yeah, he was bilingual, by office. And so never met him, and he calls me and says, hey, I'm Jeremy Qualls. I'm the blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So I come over and we meet, and we're talking, you know, getting to know each other. He said, hey, by the way, can you see this?
We got a show in
He
5
said, hey, by the way, he said, I got to go do this show. It used to be on the second floor, then third floor. He says, hey, by the way, I got to go do this show. I don't know, some show I got to do as part of my job. And you're my first guest. He said, sure. It was during football, you know, so going into football, so sure, I can do that. So we do it, and Newt, who used to be Creed, and then Creed, who used to be Lance, Newt comes around the corner and goes, that was really good. And he said, would you be interested in doing this every week? And I said, well, again, I just met him. I said, I think that's really up to him. And there you go. So then, and he's told it before, but then we walk downstairs and he says, hey, man, that went really well. Yeah, I want to keep doing this. By the way, I got another idea. WCS game day.
Oh, yes.
We're going to take it on the road. And I'm sitting there going, and again,
like, I got a regular job, man.
Well, and I was thinking this is going to be bad. I don't know that I want my name on this. And I'll never forget, man. The very first one was at Fairview. It was Page Fairview during the regular season. And when I got there, I pulled him aside. I said, "I'm sorry, man. I owe you an apology. I was really nervous pulling up here tonight. I didn't know what this was going to look like. This is unbelievable." Boom, there you go. Fast forward 6-7 years later, we're in Nolensville, and you're the host, and at a pep rally, and you got, I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it's great.
There you go.
It's great. And you're obviously a big part of this. We appreciate you being here and what you do for the district, obviously with Mathews Team Sports and Adidas, but also your expertise. You've got that show on Saturday still.
Yes, sir.
104.5 The Zone, talking high school sports.
We had Coach Derek on Saturday. He did great. I'll tell you another thing, and you see it in the show too. What's been fun with this show and also on the radio show, but I can remember, they won't care, you know, the first time Matt Kreisky and Brian Coleman came in and did this show. His
Here in the headlights?
I mean, talk about having to, no, it just, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. And they were the same way on the radio show, but you know, a little bit. And now to watch them, man, they get, you put a mic in front of either one of their faces, and man,
they're ready to go.
They're like Ron Crawford. They just rip. So pretty neat.
It is. Hopefully we can have at least 500 more, right?
That's right. I plan on being here. I hope you do too.
I do too. So, Mr. Producer, I'm sure maybe we've already done this. We have Ralph Ringstaff, Jack Daniels, Dr. Jeremy Qualls. He'll probably end up cutting that out.
You never know.
All right,
they're pretty good.
Let's talk wrestling. Obviously, this is our basketball preview show as well.
Yep.
Our last show of the year. We'll be off for a couple of weeks with the holidays coming up. But in wrestling, congratulations to Fairview, winners of the Cheatham County Duels. Franklin and Nolensville participated in the Clarksville Slam Fest. Nolensville finished third, Franklin fifth, And then Page goes 4-1 at the Stone Memorial Duels. Independence boys finished 7th at Tullahoma. Girls 4 out of 20. And that's saying something now because these girls programs are just getting started. So congratulations to Coach Grindstaff and the girls team there. Earlier in the week, last week, Brentwood with a couple of big wins over Independence and Summit. Ravenwood defeats Dixon County. And then on the girls' side, Fairview defeats Dixon County. Independence with a couple of wins, one over Ravenwood, one over Dixon County. So wrestling in full swing, Tate.
Full swing. Let's start with the girls' side. The thing that I think is a couple things jump out about that, but you mentioned Coach Grindstaff. He really was, and I think I'm comfortable saying this, he was the first one to really jump on this and dove in it really quickly and was kind of the first one, at least in Wilco, to really get that team going. So it's fun to watch them, reap the benefits of those successes. The coolest thing, though, is that we're going to a tournament and there's 20 girls teams.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean there were 20 girls that, you used to have a girl that might compete in the boys. There's 20 girls entered in the tournament. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
When this first started, there's a lot of naysayers, oh, this will never take off. It's taken off. Ravenwood, you mentioned they beat them. This is their first year to have a girls team, and they got a full roster out. I think that's very cool. So, but yeah, I really think Coach Grindstaff deserves a shout out for kind of leading the charge on that. And it's been fun to watch that grow, and it will continue to grow. And then on the boys' side, the thing that I love about watching you talk about all those tournaments is there's no weak links anymore on the boys' side. Fairview is a state runner-up. Page is a state tournament team. Nolensville, and then in the big boys.
Centennial.
Well, Centennial. They've been to 4 state tournaments in the past decade. So they've already been up there. And so to watch all those guys battle, there's no weak links. It's kind of now like volleyball or soccer. If you make it out of region, in is it 11 AAA in region?
No, it's actually 7 AAA.
Well, that's why you're the county athletic director. But very good. That was a gem. So the neat thing is, more often than not, if you make it out of the region, we've been sending 2 teams to the state tournament, the state duels, and so I don't think this year is going to be any different. It's going to come down to probably 4 or 5 teams got a say in it. I think Brentwood's probably the heavy favorite right now. One thing I don't like, but I've noticed. Do you ever see him Coach Smith tweets him out? I've noticed Skylar Coffey's getting a lot of forfeits.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
I don't know that I can blame him on that. But I hate it for the kid.
Do you think he gets any forfeits when people show up? The guy's ready and he goes, I'll forget this.
Hey, well, you remember this name. I'll never forget in high school. I wasn't there yet, but it's a true story. Bubba Miller was a freshman who ended up being a 2-time state champion. He's a freshman. He's going to have to wrestle Shazan Bradley. And he told Coach Dalton, he said, Coach, I'm not wrestling him. Yes, you are. Coach, I'm not wrestling him, and you can't make me. Anyways, he didn't make it to him yet, but that's a 2-time state champion. Anyways, I think that goes down I think that happens with Skylar, yes.
So, Tate, before we move on to our basketball preview, talk about something you were involved in this past weekend, the East-West Football All-Star Game, Adidas and Mathews Team Sports involved there. Tell our audience about that.
Well, it was a really cool event. They've been doing it now, I think, 9 years. Mr. Marbett, Bill Marbett with Southern Athletic Fields, which is now Profile. But he's very, if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't go on. Great man, big supporter of high school athletics in Middle Tennessee. Been an official, and now he's a supervisor for an official. Just a great man. Rodney Jones is big in it. Murphy Fair is big in it. But what a great event. It's the TACA, the Tennessee East-West All-Star Game. Had it at Clarksville, Austin Peay State University. If you haven't been to Forterra Stadium, it's as nice. It might not be as big as the SEC stadiums, but it's as nice.
Got it going there.
It is unbelievable. What a great venue. And just a cool deal, man. And WCS was very well represented on the west side. We go west. Coach Paul Derrick was the defensive coordinator for the West, and Matt Kreisky was the running back coach. And there's a lot of things. I could go on forever. I'm not going to do it, but it's really cool the time that they give. They get there on Monday. Those coaches go up there Monday, and then they really, from sun up to 12 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, they're busy. and you got to get the game plan in, and so both of those guys did a great job, and it was fun to see them. And then Nolensville had 2 players, Dan Rickert and C.J. Ware, and there are those kind of, obviously Alabama's not there, Ohio State's not there, but those next levels under, they're there. And I tell you what's neat about it is I had not gotten to see Dan Rickert play. Dan Rickert's a player. He's bigger than I thought he was. He's hard to block. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what will come out of it for him, but it was worthwhile being up there. Some eyes on him. He played really well. C.J. Ware played very well on the defensive line. Centennial was represented by Alex Steele at running back. Desmond Smith got nominated, was hurt, he would have been there as well. Johnny Crouch came, had a 45-yard punt, so he did a great job. The 2 quarterbacks, which I loved, were Independence's Ethan Cash, Page's Cade Walker. They both played really well. And then Stone Ralston of Brentwood represented WCS, played a lot of left guard. He got to play almost the whole game, and they all did great. So really neat event, and I think all the boys would tell you they were really blessed to be a part of it and happy that they did it.
And Mr. Jarrett Matthews had a nice game.
Jarrett Matthews had a nice game. It was neat watching Jarrett Matthews and Stone Ralston next to each other. And, it was cool, man. Trevon Ripka was there. He's it sounds like still going to Kentucky, but it's just neat, man. Coach Derrick and I talked about it on the radio Saturday. It's a glimpse of what college ball is like, especially for kids like, Wilco kids, but they were on a team with guys from Fairleigh, Whitehaven, Lake County, South Gibson was the head coach, Coach Stidham. So it was just a cool deal, and you could tell the boys had a lot of fun, and so really blessed to be a part of it, and I hope it continues. It was a neat deal, and I was very proud of all the boys. They all played very well. All the coaches that I talked to could not have been more impressed with all of them. Great job representing them, as well as Coach Kreisky and Coach Derrick.
Great event, and I know it'll continue. All right, let's talk basketball. Tate, and your answer's on the sheet there, but this is hard to believe. So our 9 schools, right?
Yes.
That's 18
Correct.
Coaches, boys and girls. 8 new faces. Well, 7.5. Coach Wild moved schools.
Just a change of address.
Yes, and maybe 7 because Coach Johnson has reappeared at Franklin.
That's right.
So we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's do this. We'll just go in alpha order by schools. We'll talk boys and girls, both sides. We'll talk a little bit about last year and maybe what to expect this year. So let's start with Brentwood. 2018-19, 19-10, Coach Miles Thrash, district tournament runner-up, lost in the region semis to Ravenwood. And what stands out really to them is when you look at key players lost and key players returning, there's a lot returning.
They have.
The Trushell twins, obviously Amelia Osgood, they're already 7-1, 2-0 in league play. And I'm telling you, I think we're going to be seeing Brentwood in Murfreesboro.
You're going public with it now because you've said that off the record.
I said it last week.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a reach, man. Yeah, they're. I think they, out of everybody in WCS, they have the most coming back. I think that's fair. And the Trushell twins are, anytime you got those 2 on your team, you got a chance. Then you throw in Amelia Osgood and Chloe Wampler. And I like the way Coach Thrash coaches, man. You never know. Obviously, he's a non-faculty guy. You never know how that is going to go over. I think he's done an unbelievable job.
No, he has.
And
great energy.
They had a nice win over Brentwood Academy, the Battle of Granny White. I know the former athletic director was very excited about that.
As is the current one.
As is the current one. And for a lot of reasons, but the most important reason, that's a good program. That's a good win. If we were like doing the bowl projection series, that is a quality, that goes under quality win category.
No doubt about it. On the boys' side, Greg Shirley, again, leading the Bruins, 28-9 last year, district and region tournament runner-up, made it all the way to the state semifinals before losing to Memphis East. They did lose some guys from last year, but the thing about Brentwood, and I think this has been true for years, you might think, well, they've lost some key pieces, but there'll be someone step up, and when that Brentwood is across your chest, typically that means they're going to show up when it really counts. And to me, they have their best 2 players back, Harry Lackey and John Windley. So Even though that they lost quite a few seniors last year, I think you'll see Brentwood, especially when it matters, really step up again. Currently 5-3, 2-0 in league play.
That's the deal. 2-0 in league play, and one of them against Franklin, which I think a lot of people have. Now there's other people in this mix, but a lot of people have those two, 1 and 2. Preseason, right? So never a disappointment when that game happens, but that's a big one. That's one that they wanted to get, and so I think you're right. Lackey's kind of the talent, By the way, we talked about it earlier. I saw him over at Brentwood High. He was in Coach Crawford's weight class. Holy smokes, he's really filled out.
He has.
And so he's back. And then Winley. Not that Winley's not very talented. He is, but I think he's a what you would call a glue guy, a locker room guy, right? I mean,
No doubt.
he's a guy who.
And
I
only
think he
a junior,
makes,
by the way.
Only a junior. I think he makes everybody better just by the effort with which he plays. Kind of hard to watch a guy playing like that and not, jump on board with it.
Centennial, we'll start with the girls. Last year, 5-20. Brad Simmons is the head coach. Really their best returning player is Sheraton Foster. They've gotten out slow this year, 0-6, 0-2 in the league. Still a lot of young players on that team. So I know, that may be a little frustrating to Coach Simmons right now, but, he works hard at it. Great guy. He's interested in it. Hopefully we'll see them play a little better as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think, he knew it when he took it. This is, and I hate it because there's been so many, there just hadn't been enough continuity in the head coaches there. It's been there. I've watched this since the beginning, and it just seems they're, every few years they're getting a new coach for whatever reason. I think that, but so he knew this when he took it over. He was ready for it, and they are getting better. That's you can tell by the scores. They used to be the equivalent of, maybe popcorn cities. It's not like that anymore. Just can't quite get over the hump. But he's on the right path, and you're right. A good man that cares about these girls, these young ladies, and they are getting better. And it will show up sooner than later.
On the boys' side, 18-11 last year. New coach Tyler Hickman. Last year they lost in the district quarterfinals to Ravenwood, and a lot of key players back. In their starting lineup, you've got guys who've started before. Andrew Ellison, Patrick Garrett, Isaiah Poore, Carter Speedy, Dusty Williams. 6-2, 2-0 in the league, and played a pretty good schedule so far too, and a big win this past Friday night as they took out Summit, which I know that meant a lot to them since Summit has a player who was playing for Centennial last year.
Would have been a key return.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there were some fireworks in that game, but that's a big win early in the season for Coach Hickman and Centennial.
For sure, and that was a big win. And I tell you a name that if you don't know about it, you probably do after last weekend. But we knew about Isaiah Poore because of the makeup of the team last year. Wasn't asked to score a lot, but you knew an athlete, and a guy that could do it. That just wasn't what they were. Dusty Williams, obviously a guy who can fill it up. Carter Speedy, that's the name. You might not be familiar with that because he was plagued by the injury bug a lot last year. He's back. He's healthy. I think did he have 21, 20 against Summit the other night?
Over 20, yes.
Yeah, he's a guy who can fill it up. They've got firepower. Coach Hickman's got his coaching philosophy and his system. He believes in it. He's confident in it. And the early results are they're going to be a force.
The thing that stood out to me in watching them, I watched them play Mount Juliet last week, another really good team here in the Mid-State. They're playing with this freedom, this offensive freedom, I think, that really benefits the talent that they have.
You knew a guy who coached like that.
So I heard.
That's right. Pretty good results.
Decent.
There you go.
Let's move on here. Fairview, last year 6-21. Wayne McGowan still leading the Lady Yellow Jackets, off to a 3-4 start, and more importantly, 1-0 with a big league win over Camden. And much like Brentwood, a lot of returning players led by Casey Mullins, Kendall Spicer, Nayland Year, Kelsey Gossage, all players who are coming back from last year's team.
It's not even to Christmas yet, and we've already got the name of the year, Nayland Year. I mean, she wins. It's over. Go ahead and give her the plaque.
Maybe
at the
Tennessee
Willow Coast.
fans would hurt.
I mean, come on. It's over. But yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is, you mentioned that one league win against Camden. It was about 20 points, and so scored 61 points. That's good, man.
Well, Coach said they were going to be much improved, and they definitely are.
Yep.
On the boys' side, Trey McCoy, the Yellow Jackets, 28-3 last year. They were district tournament champions and lost in the region quarterfinals to Murfreesboro Central Magnet. Lost some talented
They
players.
didn't lose any good players, did they?
Led by Estes and Cam Harris-Luck. So those are some tough losses.
Yeah.
You know, the thing I'm impressed with Coach McCoy is he's not afraid to schedule tough opponents. They're 3-4 right now. Again, 1-0 in league play. But some of their losses, a couple points to Nolensville, had a pretty good game with Independence. So definitely not afraid of scheduling tough, which is saying something, because I think sometimes when you've only been a head coach 5 years or less, you're trying to pile up wins. I give him credit for piling up tough opponents.
Yeah, and he's, you know, he's really good at what he does, and but he's figured out what you figured out early on in your coaching career. What is our goal? Let's figure out what our goal is. Our goal is to get to the state tournament. Well, the guys we're going to have to go through when we get to region, and back then it was sub-state. What do we call it now?
I still call it
sectionals. I do too. Sub-state. We better schedule some tough opponents, and or if not, we're going to get smacked right in the mouth once we get out of the region tournament or district tournament, and that's what he's done. And so, you know, you're right. Good for him, that young in his coaching career, but it's because he gets it, you know. And they're fun to watch, and the cupboard is not bare. They've got a, you know, we talk about the difference between a team and a program, and I think he's building a program. So you're right, but that's how you do it. You know, good for you. And a guy we really respect. He's been guilty of that before. Good for you going 24-1, and then you get put out in the second round. Well, super.
Right. What's it matter, right?
Yeah.
They always remember the end in basketball, in particular.
They remember what you do in November. They remember what you do in March, right?
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Franklin Rebels, girls team, 15-13 last year, lost in the district quarterfinals to Ravenwood. Key returning players, Bergen Ali, Kate O'Neill, Sydney Ryan. Sydney being one of the best in the league, no doubt. Did lose Darcy Doran, who's now playing at Christian Brothers, and Jillian King, who's at Valdosta State. Currently 2-5, 0-3 in league play in the return of Jay Johnson. I think his last year was 2012. Longtime boys coach there at Franklin. All-time wins leader, boys or girls, either one, in terms of number of wins. So I know he's excited about being back on the sideline.
And so now he's adding to those totals, so I don't know. It's going to be hard to catch him. 0-3 in league play, but they're playing maybe the best league around, and they've played really good teams.
And they played Brentwood and Page.
That's right. And so, you know, that kind of, I don't know that he's real discouraged about that right now. Lost his two senior leaders. And you know, that's going to take time, I guess. You know, Jillian King and Darcy Doran, they were leaders. Sydney Ryan is one of the most talented young players, and she's still young, which she's a sophomore, which is what's crazy. But she's still young. But they're going to be fine. You know, I think he's about where they expected them to be right now, don't you?
Yeah. Maybe we would like to see one more win, but I know the Ravenwood loss, when the year started, would have said, hey, we need to get that win, beat Ravenwood at home, but didn't work out that particular night. On the boys' side for Franklin, 28-7 last year, district tournament champions, region tournament champions, lost in the quarterfinals to Bearden. Key returning players, Reed, Kemp, and Matt Thurmond. And really the news for Franklin, they have upgraded their head coach.
I noticed under key players lost, you left yourself out.
Coach Tiger's doing a great job there. He really is. Obviously losing Reese Glover, Ashari Hainsworth, Jordan Bruce. Tough losses for Franklin, but really the core of that team, juniors. So I know Coach Tiger wouldn't like to hear this. They're off to a 5-2, 2-1 start in the league. But really, for this team, it's kind of a 2-year process. So I almost think this year's sort of like icing on the cake.
A couple things. One, I mean, it's not easy to come in and replace a legend. And so
Did I write that in the script?
But hey, here a couple things I love about this. One, he had a good job.
Yeah.
He's from Dixon and loved it there. And so, you know, some people wouldn't have the guts to come in and follow what y'all did, especially losing Reese Glover, Shari Hainsworth, and Jordan Bruce. And we've talked about it. We could go on for a half hour. Everybody understands the loss of a Reese Glover and a Shari Hainsworth. But Jordan Bruce, man, I don't think you can minimize that either. That dude was
Mr. Corner three-pointer.
Mr. Reliable. And you better know where he was, or you're going to look up and we went on a 12-point run. I think it's awesome that he took that job over. He's doing a great job. Anytime you've got Reed, Kemp, and Matt Thurmond coming back. And it's fun to watch Reed, man. I can remember the first time I saw him was over at A game, and when your freshman team was playing over there. You remember I called you. I was like, who is this kid?
Can handle the ball.
Shoot, he can dribble. But he's, seen him over at the gym. He's gotten bigger, stronger, looks like a junior. He's a player, man. Matt Thurmond's a player. Their one loss is to Brentwood. No shame in that. That's going to be a battle every time they play. So, we lost some good players, but I think this team has a chance to go really far. And the neat thing is, too, he's got to be him, right? And so he's keeping some of the stuff that you did.
Right.
But he's also putting some of his stuff in.
As he should.
As he should. You got to be you. And that takes a little bit of time. Agreed?
No doubt about it. Independence, and I would say when you combine boys and girls, maybe the surprise so far of the league. Last year, Independence 6-21. Brian Glazner, a new coach there, a veteran coach, but he's new as the head coach. They're off to a 5-3 start already, 1-0 in the league. And then on the boys' side, Coach Kyle, they were 9-18 last year, 7-2, 1-0 in league play. So both teams really off to a pretty quick start, both undefeated after only one game, but still a great start.
Yeah, and not so much as a surprise to me on the girls' side because Coach Glazner's he's a good coach. He's an experienced coach, and I'm really glad that he got the job. He also had a nice transfer come in.
Miss Freeman.
And so that always helps.
It does help.
But good for him, man. I mean, you have choices, right? When you're moving down here, they look around. It's not like you're moving to Henry County where it's Henry County, right? But no, I think they are not that used to be one when you were looking at the schedule, certain teams in this region where you're counting up your wins that you're going to get. That used to be one of them. That's not the case anymore.
No.
And the same thing on the boys' side.
Definitely.
Same story, yeah.
Matt St. Charles leads that team. And, they lost some players too. Preston Garner was a guy, one of the better kids in the league last year.
Sure.
So you might look at that and go, well, 9-18, they lose their best player. It's going to be a struggle. They're off to a really nice start. And I think they're going to continue to play well.
I agree. Coach Kyle's got them. He's got them pointed in the right direction. And they
His teams always play hard too.
Can we talk about it on this show? They also have some nice new video boards.
Yes, they do. Difference makers, I think.
Those are strong.
Yeah, I think they're great.
Yeah.
Great for the CTE programs too, by the way.
Yes.
We're talking about your marketing and broadcasting and digital design students. My predictions, we'll see more of those boards continue to go up in the district.
I would wager on that.
Nolensville. On the girls' side, Chris Ladd leads that team, 23-7 last year. District tournament champions. They lost in the region semis to Creekwood. Some really nice players back. Grace Baird, Addie Keene, Cayman Ladd, Parker Leftwich, Sydney McCullen, Zoe Pillar, to name a few. Off to a 6-2 start. And really what's nice for them, they don't start league play till after Christmas, which is nice being in a smaller district. Coach Ladd's team, I'm saying at least.
I'm second.
At least
no.
Sub-state.
No,
Least, minimum. But I'm going Glass House with them too.
I'm going Glass House too. I'm second.
No pressure, Coach Thrash. No pressure, Coach Ladd.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
we
right.
already said Brentwood.
I mean, are you kidding me? You got Baird, Keene, Ladd, who, by the way, is his daughter. Much better player than he was. No, Coach Ladd was really good. He played at Overton. He was good. Parker Leftwich and Zoe Pillar and McCulkin back. I mean, you better. No. Putting you on notice, Coach. Glass House or bust?
On the boys' side, new coach John Stegall, great coach, new to the league. Last year, they were district tournament champions, region tournament champions, and lost in the sub-state to East Nashville. They lost quite a bit in terms of players. But Coach Stegall, led by Nathan Fouch and Davin Watkins, They're playing hard. They're playing a tough schedule. 2-5 right now, but when they get into league play,
It's going to be a different story.
They'll be ready.
That's right. And now it's the opposite. Man, they lost some serious firepower. Mr. Double-Double, Nate Bladorn.
Who started like 9 straight years.
That's right. On my all WCS team, that when the draft was over, Creed and Miss Heather, when they're laughing so hard at Dr. Qual's team, how much better mine was. He got upset about it. I had Mr. Double-Double, Nate Bladorn. But a couple things, Coach Stegall, veteran coach, great hire, been to the state tournament with Northeast. Y'all never played each other, did you?
We played during the season.
Yeah.
When he was in Kenwood, we played in the tournament.
Yeah, great. And then the other thing that I love about it is that's how much you care about the program. You said, hey, what can we do to help Nolensville and Coach Stegall in his transition year, losing in the sub-state to East Nashville? So you went out and hired Coach Fay away from East Nashville and brought him down to Summit. And so trying to help out when we get to the region tournament, right?
That's right. All right, moving on. The Page Patriots, 29-5, talking girls now, led by Coach Ron Brock. Lost in the region semis to Dixon County last year. And I think Coach would say this. Maybe a little disappointing. They got in one of those situations where you lose at the wrong time, and now they're matched up with Dixon in the region semis. You got to win or go home.
Yeah.
And Dixon was a great team. So, again, prediction number 3.
In?
Glass House.
Holy smokes. You're going to have to run a suite up there.
2 girls teams. And I know 9 AAA has long dominated this area. That's over. 2 teams. 2 teams make it.
Well, you're right. They got a lot of great players back. But, man, there's other ones.
No, they lost Faith Wilkin.
Losing her now, that's like losing Glover on the boys' side,
But it's not Bear.
Heck no.
You read
You
off some
got
of those
Lily,
names.
you got Delaney No,
Yep.
Cochran, and I'd love to see them get there. They were oh so close, man. That's the God. I mean, saw it a little bit this year with my boy. That's the great thing about athletics, man. What a great year, and then just they picked the wrong night to not play their best. So I'm sure that's something that they're working towards, and I mean. They're 7-0 and 2-0 in league play. It doesn't get much better than that.
And today's gym.
I do know the answer.
Which is perfect for show number 500. Who is the assistant coach?
Ralph Ringstaff.
He definitely is. That's
Show number 1, right?
That's right.
That
show
is a
number
gem.
1.
That is good. You need to bring him in here. Ask him how the show's evolved.
Boys side, 12-17 last year, led by Coach Larry No. They lost in the district quarterfinals to Brentwood. But they have some nice pieces coming back.
Yes.
Mason Allen, Blaine Burrow, Thomas Seaman. 5-2, 0-2 in league play, but both of those games they could have won.
For sure.
Not only the Centennial game, but also the Franklin game. In fact, that Franklin game, they led pretty late.
Yeah.
Going into the fourth quarter, they were up. I think that game started off, they were up like 10-0. So Page is definitely one of those teams you're not going to want to see late in the season.
No, for sure. And there, you know what you're going to get with Coach No, spent time with Coach Moore and then also Coach Glass at Independence. They're going to be tough. They're going to play hard. They don't want that game getting up into 80 to, 75, 72 or whatever. So, one thing I know he always preaches, you're not always going to shoot well, but you can always play defense and rebound. And
Which his teams always do.
Which his teams always do. And with that, most of the time you're always in the games because – that's what they're about. So, I think, and then Mason Allen's a really nice player. So, Page is going to be in the conversation come the end of the season. They're not going to be sitting there 29-5 like the girls' side, but they're going to be in the conversation come tournament time.
Ravenwood girls last year 17-13. They're now led by first-year coach Andrew James. Region tournament runner-up, lost in the sub-state to Lebanon. They do have some key returning players: Jasmine Brown, Lexi Erickson.
Great player.
Regan Grimes, a new addition.
Newcomer.
Nice player. Right now they're 4-4, 1-1 in league play. So I think that win over Franklin was big for Coach James because I think that's one that people might have thought that Franklin wins that game. Ravenwood goes out and wins by 20.
I'm so happy for him. One, it was his. He deserved a chance to be a head coach. He's put in his time, and he's taken over a team that there was. We don't have all the pieces back that we thought we were going to get, and 4-4, 1-1 in league play. I think if you told him that at the beginning of the season, he'd take that. They're playing well, and I think two things go into that. One, he's doing a good job, and then two, those girls are playing hard and believing in what they're doing. And so, I think a lot of people maybe thought they were going to fall to the bottom of the totem pole.
Hadn't happened.
It hadn't happened, and I don't think it's going to happen. Obviously, you mentioned Lexi coming back, and then Regan Grimes. What a nice addition that is. Sometime I'd like to do a show if we can. I don't think this is a bad best brother sister.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, right now, I got to go with the Coffees, Skylar and Catherine Coffee.
It's going to be hard to compete with.
It's going to be hard to compete with, but that'd be pretty cool. By the time she's done, they're going to be up there. That'd be pretty neat, wouldn't it?
Be a great show.
Yeah.
Boys side, the dean of coaches.
The dean.
In the league, Patrick Whitlock in year number 14.
He's also the president of the Derek Mason fan club.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes, he is. Card-carrying member. And okay. Last year they lost.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yes, yes. Last year lost in the region quarterfinals to Hillsboro. Did lose a couple of nice pieces in Sterling Craig and Chase Siebert. But we like Andrews, Dang, and Rex Gaynor.
Like them all.
Returning. 2-6 right now, 0-2 in league play. But in their defense, got some football guys who will be coming out. Maybe some new faces that we haven't seen before. Don't want to spoil the surprise, do we?
Well, that's up to you.
No, let's don't spoil
Yeah.
Because I know people are watching this show scouting their next
That's
game.
a Christmas special. We don't want to give anything away.
It's a Christmas.
Yeah, let's just say they're more athletic than what they've been the beginning of the season. Fair?
That would be fair.
But here's what I do like. Gaynor, competitor. He
can shoot it, too.
He could have played for you. He's never met a shot he didn't like.
9 threes at Franklin last year.
Yeah, and that's good. And then Nick Dang, player, Trevor Andrews, football kid, tough kid. Ravenwood, when Ravenwood, in my opinion, has been most successful is when they've got those football guys. That's just one of those schools. And they bring some toughness to them. And they got some more coming. But, and then last year came tournament time. The former host and I did not give them a very positive outlook going into the tournament. You know what happened. They let us hear about it, and I'm glad. But, Coach, we've talked about it. Everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses now. When it comes to detail, organization, a Patrick Whitlock scouting report is really fun to look at. Coach knows what he's doing. And he's the dean now. That's pretty awesome.
You've got to be, one thing about Coach Whitlock, and this is true of a lot of the coaches in the league, but I think in particular with Coach Whitlock on the boys' side, you're going to have to play to win. I don't care what the talent looks like on both teams, but you've got to be ready to go and execute because his teams now, they execute.
Yeah, and they're going to be prepared.
No doubt about it. Our final team, the Summit Spartans, a couple new guys leading the charge there. And this is an interesting group to hang out with, too, by the way. On the girls' side, John Wild, who's moving over from Franklin, and Jim Fay, who's coming over after 23 years at East Nashville. Last year on the girls' side, they lost in the district quarterfinals to Brentwood. They've got some nice pieces back, though. Ellie Colson, who won't be playing till after the beginning of the year. Marley Anderson, Emma Kate Bratton, Megan Easterday, Taylor Penning. Nice pieces there. Right now, 6-0, 1-0 in league play. So Coach Wild, I'm telling you, the guy can coach.
It's unbelievable, really. I mean, first of all, my favorite husband-wife combo, the good ones, hated to see them go. But if they had to go, Coach Wild and Coach Fay. I'm so excited about Coach Fay, which I know we're not.
They're more like the odd couple. Well,
oh my gosh,
they're similar.
You remember the movie Grumpy Old Men?
Starring John Wild.
Fay's actually not that grumpy, but on the exterior, is that fair? You like that? Is that a good comparison?
I love it.
But so Coach Wild comes in, and then I can't remember the date now. What do? They go out and they break the record for most.
23 threes.
Now, if anybody had told you that was going to happen, you wouldn't have believed it. They go out 23 threes, man, break the record. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, you're missing out. But what most people don't know, we talked about this, is he's a really a basketball Tennessee the state of Tennessee.
He'll be a
basketball.
Hall of Famer, by the way.
Well, but he's a historian, man.
Yep.
And especially on the girls' side, somebody will fire out a question. He can tell you who holds the record.
Yep.
And so for them to come out and they bust 23 threes in a game, that's amazing.
And he's a great teacher, too.
Great teacher.
And a great school
guy. Nobody, he can, I guarantee you, he can tell you more stats on the Summit football team this year than maybe anybody outside of Justin Lamb and Brian Coleman.
And the best meet and threes all across Middle Tennessee.
I think I'm in that conversation, but
You are.
he's the godfather, so I'll let him have that. But I tell you, you mentioned all those girls, but Taylor Penning, leading up to last week. Now I don't know what she did last week, but leading up to last week, she was shooting 40% from threes. Now you've watched this. There was a time, seriously, I've loved watching that. I think strength training and the evolution of three-point shot in the girls' game has changed that more than anything. But there was a time back when you were at Beach where I would think Coach Walker would be happy with high teen three-point percentage, right?
Sure.
And Taylor Penny's shooting 40%. That's amazing.
It's
and I think a big
changed.
part of that is the time they spend in the weight room. They're stronger, but it's really changed the game, made it more exciting.
Very much athletes.
For sure.
On the boys' side, Coach Fay's got a lot coming back. They lost in the region semifinals to Franklin, Tristan Conger, Caleb Jolly, Destin and Keaton Wade. Yes, the same Destin and Keaton Wade. Kanata Wirtz, 3-2, 0-1 in league play. But because Coach is new and they played so long in the football season, that team's going to look way, way, way different come February. And I love Coach Fay's attitude about it. He's not worried about it. He's not one of those guys that's worried about what's happening right now. He knows it's about the end. It's a great addition to our league, a very quality coach.
For sure. And a tough coach. And
a baseball card collector.
A baseball card collector. Big football fan. You saw it. You've seen it through the years. Those teams that their football programs go deep into the playoffs. What would you say? Third week of January, right? Is that about when it'll happen?
That's when it kicks in.
That's when it kicks in, and you're like, oh, whoa. Yeah, I mean, nothing to worry about here. These guys bring some toughness. I tell you what, I was already a big Wade twin fan, but nothing against Destin. But at quarterback, it's different. Keaton Wade is tough. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about it.
What he did this year, this is a tough guy. Oh, and on the other side, he's a great athlete. When they get their basketball legs under them and they get this thing, this is going to be a tough out, man. Tough out.
Very tough out. Tate, I've enjoyed it as always.
500, man.
Show number 500. And as we leave you, we've got a very special video montage.
I can't wait.
Of some earlier shows.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us for the 500th show.
It's been great.
Of Sports Connection.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Tate.
It'll be after Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hope Santa Claus comes to see you.
Enjoy the video montage.
Welcome to our new show, the Williamson County Sports Connection. And my name is Ralph Ringstaff. I'm the athletic specialist for Williamson County Schools, and I will be your host. This show will be geared to provide information which will be helpful to our parents and students playing sports in our middle schools and high schools. I also hope this show will be fun to watch for the average sports fan in Williamson County.
All right, welcome back. As now you know who my guest is today, Coach Ralph Ringstaff, who was on the very first show back in June 17th, 2008. Welcome, Ralph.
Thank you, Coach Daniels. It's a pleasure being here at the 200th show. I mean, it's great. Wow. I think I did 80-something, and you've done the rest, 120-something. Y'all have been really getting with it.
And today's show is a little bit different. We have a different setup here, and we're going to talk about Football 101. I'm going to start with what you have to have in order to play this game, equipment. So the first thing that you would think of would be you got to have a football in order to play this game.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Williamson County Sports Connection. I'm Jack Daniels, your host, and with me for today's show is the new athletic director for the Williamson County School District, Jeremy Quarles. Welcome, Jeremy, to Williamson County.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. Hello, welcome back to Williamson County Sports Connection. I'm District Level Athletic Director Jeremy Qualls, and I have changed seats with my counterpart, Mr. Jack Daniels, Coach. It's kind of funny to be on this side, and as we close the show out, I would feel honored to let you close this show out as this being your final show of Williamson County Sports Connection.
Thank you for joining us for this segment of the Williamson County Sports Connection. I'm Jack Daniels, your ex-host. Thank you.
Connection. My name is Jeremy Qualls, and I have a guest with me today that I'm happy to be here, Mr. Tate Matthews. How are you doing today, Tate?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you inviting me.
Good. I'm happy that you're here. He is the host of the High School Sports Saturday Show on 104.5 The Zone. Also owner of Mathews Team Sports. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I appreciate it. Grew up here, moved here when I was 16, grew up in Knoxville. A lot of you all know my dad, Doug Mathews. And
Somehow we're still on the air. Show number 400. This is a milestone for us.
I think it's because we're cheap.
I don't know if it's cheap or if they're giving us a sign to rest in peace and get off this thing and retire. But to all of our 27 viewers, we greatly appreciate you tuning in week out with us. We try to make this as pleasurable and as fun as possible, but sometimes it is what it is. But you know, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast, man. I look forward to it every week. And the great thing is we have a lot of good athletes and coaches and teams to talk about, so they make it easy.
Hello and welcome to WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host today, Jeremy Qualls, alongside two of the most brightest minds in all of athletics in Williamson County. I have Coach Darrin Jones with us today. We've got Tate Matthews. I'm just so happy to be back on the air. It's football season. We're live streaming in Williamson County, much to a lot of people's chagrin. I'm dropping dimes today. You better look out. This is going to be a jam-packed special edition, Tate.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited. This is a bittersweet day for me. But, hey, you know what you do is you just keep on improving and you keep rolling with the punches. And I really think that with the foundation you've laid in all seriousness now with what Coach Joyne's taking over, I mean, we're set to be set apart. And I'm just glad we got one more time to slap some dimes on this show, man. I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
And what I have heard, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, we have viewers as far away as Gallatin.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So this is
We're keeping up with this.
This is
Yes.
my final show.
Okay.
I'm giving myself the tombstone. I'm out, Popcorn City. I got hammered today in my picks.
You're headed to
For
the boat
one last
races.
time, if you're still with us, Gallatin, we love you. Thank you for live streaming with us today. I dropped plenty of dimes.
Be
We'll see you
set
next
apart,
time.
baby.